Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. Today we're going to be talking about flight, combat and gimbal updates that Cloud Imperium games have been talking about and that are going to completely change the landscape of combat in the game for ship flight and all that sort of jazz. There's a ton of dev responses here, and we've also got the This Week in Star Citizen post, which gives us a load of extra hype about what's coming this week, because there's a lot more cool stuff coming, so let's start with that. Later Tuesday, RSI subs are going to get their monthly update, so this basically goes, what's the ship of the month, what stuff do you get for free if you're an RSI subscriber. Then on Wednesday, we've got the first roadmap update of the year, so we should see the on-paper plans for Star Citizen Alpha 3.23, which is incredibly important as it's a feature-filled patch now, bringing a load of the refined Squadron 42 features into the Persistent Universe. We'll also be getting the monthly reports for the Persistent Universe and Squadron 42. It is going to be a busy day for me because there's a ton of stuff to go over as soon as that stuff comes out. People keep on asking, when is Alpha 3.23 actually going to come out? We don't know for sure. Roughly on paper, it's supposed to come out at the end of March, at the end of Q1, but it does seem like CIG don't 100% know. Obviously, it's going to be dependent on the PTU tests and how buggy it is and can they get all the features they want in. So it could be delayed for several weeks from that, potentially. We'll have to sort of wait and see. You will, however, have a Wave 1 PTU and all the sort of PTU phases going out well before its live release. It's in EVOCATI in some state at the moment already. Thursday, let's see what CIG said. Inside Star Citizen takes a detour on our road to Alpha 3.23 and explores the ever-expanding role of branding in our persistent universe and how it's being used to shape and conform not just the way our developers work, but corporate and faction life in the Stanton and Pyro systems respectively. I'm hoping we get some information on points of interest, depot stuff that they've got going on, factions, missions, all that sort of jazz. There's a ton of quite interesting stuff that they could show us here, so I am actually really looking forward to that. Also, we have two events for Star Citizen kicking off on Thursday, both simultaneously. The Red Festival and Quartermore will both begin. These events also have a FreeFly event associated with them. I believe everyone will get access to a 100i Nomad, 400i Prospector and Scorpius. Obviously, people can play Star Citizen for free during that time. I do believe it's going to be on for a couple of weeks, and there's going to be an extra referral bonus of a Dragonfly and Red Alert armor and shotgun set. So basically, if someone you refer using a referral code buys a game package within that time, you both get rewarded with a Dragonfly and that set of armor. So a good reason to try and get people into the game, I suppose. I personally think that Alpha 3.23 is the time to start getting a lot of people to take a look at the game. Maybe they're not going to play it for huge periods of time, sort of more casual gamers, or people that aren't super interested in Star Citizen at the moment, but I do think it's going to be a good time for them to look at it because there's so much refinement in that patch. Friday, we've got Star Citizen Live. It's a classic Meet the Devs episode, so it's going to be talking about the personal history of two tenured executives, so Chief Publishing Officer John Erskine and Vice President of Corporate Technology Mike Jones. So this is going to be a live show, and they're going to be sharing stories about themselves and the earliest days of CIG. Now, sometimes you get some useful tidbits of development information here. So yeah, historic and current development, they do talk about bits of that. Maybe they'll take some questions from the audience as well. So it's more of a fluff episode, but there are sometimes useful information to be gained here. So quite a busy week for Star Citizen, things happening with those events, with the roadmap updates, with the monthly reports, all that sort of jazz being chucked at us along with Star Citizen's Inside Star Citizen and Star Citizen Live. But I want to move on to another topic, which is all these sort of combat updates, these ship updates, and in a recent Star Citizen Live, the most recent one, they said that they are gimbaling pretty much all ship weapons. So they're changing the fixed ones into gimbaled, and they're making some changes to those gimbals as well. So we know there is an update coming with a huge amount of changes for ship flight and combat. Gunnery changes, targeting changes, convergence system changes as well. Wider changes to ship flight. And for Alpha 3.23, they're getting rid of fixed mounts, and weapons will only be fixed in rare cases from then on. So there was a bit of confusion about this and a load of dev responses that I wanted to go over on it. This is mostly focusing on a Spectrum thread question for the Vanguard nose gun. Question, they said that the Vanguard would be among a handful of ships that would only have the chin gun remain in a fixed position? Will there still be an option to put it on a gimbal? One of the big problems with the Vanguard is a lack of options to match velocities so the pip doesn't spread as much with all its bespoke weapons. We'd love clarification because with the Vanguard's lack of mobility, it could be a make or break for some owners. Or will there be the old lock mechanic again, where pips lock for a full fixed loadout, which combines the pips? Yogi Klatt, principal vehicle programmer at CIG, is the chief responder in this thread and responded to a load of these questions. Let's start with what he said here. Try out the Vanguard in the master mode experimental mode in 3.22. That is how the ship will work for the full master mode release. The nose guns are fixed, the chin mount is not. They specifically said the integrated nose guns are the ones that are staying fixed because they can't be gimbaled because they're integrated, very bespoke for that ship. He went on to say, providing feedback for the current combat system in the live persistent universe is not really valuable for us anymore. If you want to help shape the future of Star Citizen's vehicle combat, please focus on the master mode related arena commander modes. This is where we test out the new stuff. Additionally, single gimbals will not go down a size anymore. So this is one of the other major changes here. A size 5 hardpoint will carry a size 5 gimbal with a size 5 gun. So people might be curious, surely this will hugely affect the meta. Well, it will change a lot of bits, but obviously there's going to be a lot of balance here as well, and it's going to be across the board balance, right? However, Yogi Klatt was then asked, will the size updates apply to multi-gun attachments like the Super Hornet's bull turret and the nose mounts, which splits it into 2 weapons? No, this upscaling is for single gimbals, and ones that carry multi-gun attachments, multi-guns, will not be scaled up in the same way. Will ships that have penalty-free gimbals already, like the Freelancer series for instance, get some other level of buff to their loadout? We haven't looked at the Freelancers yet. The upscaling was meant for single gimbals. We yet have to decide if we upscale the special gimbals like chin turrets, etc. Some ships are a bit of a problem here as their gun ratings go through the roof with that, so it depends on a case-by-case basis. A BoredGamer opinion here, it's going to get balanced, right? The ships will roughly be where they're planned to be on the Pantheon anyway. There's a huge amount of balance that needs to go in here. Doesn't really matter about the gimbals thing on a ship-by-ship basis because they will get balanced into being as powerful as they're supposed to be, if you see what I mean. Will you have the ability to put smaller weapons on large gimbals, or put a kit on that basically goes, oh, this is a size 5 slot, I actually want a size 4 weapon on here, so that it could be used more effectively against lighter fighters? No, you will not be able to downgrade to a smaller sized weapon, but weapon tuning will be completely redone, and we're throwing several old rules out of the window. There will be anti-fighter guns for size 5 and size 6 mounts. That was a really interesting answer there, because they're basically saying, yeah, there's actually going to be anti-fighter large-scale weapons. Are gimbal attachments going away? Will you be able to buy them in shops? Can you change them? Yogi Klatt here replied, I don't actually know about this one specifically. I think in the first release that will not change, but we will likely just auto-attach gimbals in the loadout screens later. Will weapon convergence change and suffer because of the changes to fixed and gimbaled weapons? The convergence has nothing to do with fixed or gimbaled weapons. In fact, gimbaled weapons can reach the set convergence actually much easier. Convergence distance is always overwritten when you have a target locked. Some ships have slightly misaligned mounts, but those are in the process of getting fixed. Will beam weapons be available for fighters? Will they be fixed weapons or gimbaled? We will likely not have beam weapons on fighters, as there's almost nothing you can do to defend against them when they are used on a gimbal. Moving away from those gimbal changes, there was another thread. Can we expect to have a minimum airspeed indicator with the new flight and HUD model, and can we see an example of what you're working on? This will be important for things like atmospheric flight and knowing when thrusters need to burn to keep you in the air. Yogi Klatt again responded, that already exists on the new flight HUD. You might have seen it in our CitizenCon talk. It's a small red dot on the speed gauge that tells you about the current stall speed, which is based on air density. Stall speed is the indicated airspeed at which the wings don't produce enough lift to keep you airborne. When that happens in Star Citizen, the thrusters are automatically engaged unless you inhibit them manually. Is there an audio cue for when you are about to stall? There are some moderating effects like vibrations telling you that that's about to happen. We have not yet planned for other cues yet, but that's mostly because it's still a while off. Another thread said, what are these bunch of numbers in the bottom left of my HUD that looks like a stopwatch? That is a stopwatch. You can actually bind the start and stop of that stopwatch in the keybind options, as it's not bound by default. A couple of other little things. There was a thread on behalf of other citizens, that was the name of the thread, basically going, there are colorblind and vision impaired citizens, CIG, make sure that you support them as best you can. I just wanted to draw attention to that because I'm sure they will, but I've got loads of colorblind friends, I've got some blind friends that are still able to play games and stuff. They're legally blind, but they still have some vision. They're severely vision impaired. Accessibility options for Star Citizen, the more the better. I did also see on the Star Citizen Reddit that people were talking about the Barcelona Bar Citizen that CIG attended recently, and were saying that Xylo had confirmed there that it was going to be a CitizenCon in Manchester this year in the UK, though I don't have 100% sources on that. It is just people saying on Reddit. That said, I do very much expect that it is in Manchester this year, so make of that what you will. Boom! That's it for your updates today. I am really excited to see Alpha 3.23 and these changes to ship combat and flight and gimbals and all that sort of stuff. It does look like they are trying to unify and normalize a lot of this stuff so that they can balance it significantly better, and a lot of people are going to say they're simplifying it too much. I would say let's wait and see. Let's see how this evolves and give feedback once it's in our hands. Obviously, we can do a lot of this stuff with master modes now and test that out. But I am really genuinely interested to know what you think about this as it develops, and are you excited for all those changes that they've got coming into Alpha 3.23? What are you hoping to see? Is there anything that you're sort of like, no, they don't want to do this, this is terrible? Are you looking forward to the Red Festival and Core and more? We're going to be covering all of those posts about roadmap updates and the monthly reports as they come in, so don't worry about that. Thank you very much for watching. Whatever your questions or thoughts are, I would love to hear from you in the comments below. People always ask me, what's your favourite ship? And I always answer, it's NordVPN. With its powerful loadout, it wrecks pros and noobs alike. I can cruise around the verse with the added security that online threats aren't as much of a big deal. It also deals with intrusive ads, like this one, and gives you a greater accessibility to content you may want to watch on other platforms. I can watch Japanese Netflix. Is that even a thing? Maybe. You can find out with NordVPN. It is worth mentioning that CIG and Star Citizen don't actually produce a NordVPN ship yet, but NordVPN is available separately from the links below, and clicking those does help me buy spaceships, so it's basically the same thing, right? Go to nordvpn.com/BoredGamer. Get Nord, give ships. I don't know. That's an amazing promo. Every month, we give away a ship for Star Citizen. For February 2024, we're giving away a Drake Corsair Explorer with lifetime insurance and a game package. Everything you need to play and explore Star Citizen in style. All you need to do to be in for a chance of winning that is comment on any of my videos made during this month. It is as easy as that. More details in the comments below. A massive thank you to everyone that goes the extra mile in supporting the channel. It is with your support we are able to make daily Star Citizen videos. If you want to be one of those lovely people, then please check out the join button under my videos. That will help you become a channel member. There's Patreon, there's direct donations. All the links for all of that are down below. But there are loads of non-monetary ways you can help support us. Commenting, sharing, liking, all of that sort of stuff goes a huge way in helping the channel grow. Thank you so much for watching to the end, and you have a great day.